this weekend. The big idea here is that Spellstutter Sprite still very good in the metagame, and Flametongue Yearling is also, I think, like kind of like a necessary card at the moment. And like when Yearling is good, like the card is very good. I'm excited for this deck. This deck's also like pretty fun, of course. But yeah, but both Sprite and Yearling really impressed me over over my like testing Sunday morning. And then we also have main deck Magus for the Saga decks. We have Solitude, which is I think a necessary card to play in these decks to have like some cheap interaction, to have like the nut draw with Ephemerate, and to have some answers for Murktide Regent. Yeah, Kavu pretty good against the monkey decks. I've been pretty impressed by this. But that's really when you need that. This hand to be a lot better on the play. It's really hard to mulligan a hand with Vial on turn 1. I'm probably gonna keep. But I didn't reveal Luris. No Luris, but they have Cliff's Darcy, Heresy. I think that Esper Sentinel is good enough outside of. Oh, it's the Spider Space deck. Cool. Did want to test this matchup. Yeah, I think Esper Sentinel is a good card. I don't think it just goes in every white deck, but it goes in a lot of decks, probably more decks than people are playing it in, I imagine. Logic's Command feels like a sleeper. Can put footballs. Isn't that's the 5 mana Boros one, right? 5 mana is a lot of mana. Skyclave not being able to get the Saga tokens is a problem here, probably. Love to draw Kavu. Something besides just lands. The 3 mana Simic one? I guess I don't know what it does then. Guess I don't really remember what that one does. Let it draw like Imperial Recruiter here, just an 8 value card, really. What's the reason for Felidar over Restoration or Exarch? The fact that you can get it with Imperial Recruiter. I did have an Exarch in my deck when I was like testing it over the weekend, but I ended up not liking it that much. Like the worst card in the deck. Alright, so it returns a creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand, counters artifact or enchantment spell, which is medium. 2 counters on creature, shuffle. I don't think I'm a believer yet. But it says they've got a emergency with their child, so we're gonna wait a second here. Yeah, the child stream sniping. All right, let's. We were talking about this earlier. So first, we have to figure out. We were talking about playing a Through the Breach Reanimator deck, but your only breach target is Archon, and so like you just play 4 Archons, 4 Through the Breach. It's probably not even. I'm not sure. But is Through the Breaching Archon good? Is it like good enough? They lose 6, you gain 6, you draw 2, they discard 2, and you hit them for 6, and they sacrifice 2 guys. I mean, you probably need like 1 more target. Probably not that good. Sounds really fun though. If you're black red, could you Urborg Coffers? Or just better to be mono black if you're doing that. Yeah, prime time's kind of interesting because then it also lets you like hardcast Archon. But the problem with like that is that if you're casting Primeval Titan, you should just be winning the game right there. I think Sire of Insanity is like really unplayable in Modern, unfortunately, because you can't get it into play on turn 1 or 2, which is when the only turns that Sire is good. Did you play Profane Tutor? Yeah, I guess you could play Profane Tutor and play like just 1 breach. That's probably better. Yeah, and then you can play Seasoned Pyromancer. I mean, I do think that Prismatic Ending is really important for this deck to be able to exile like Rest in Peace and cards like that. But Spyro seems decent. Like discarding drawn copies of Profane Tutor is kind of nice. Like Spyro seems better to me than like the Lilianas that we were playing in like the other version of this deck. I have tried Blue-Black Reanimator, just like being a control deck that has the reanimation plan. And I've been meaning to try that deck again, but play Gifts Ungiven, which you could maybe work on that list. Yeah, Spyro's good because you get to discard all the bad cards, exactly. Any thoughts on Bone Shards? Well, I think this deck needs to be Mardu and play Prismatic Ending. But we can play some Bone Shards. If you're gonna play 4 Archons, you do need more discard outlets. You can play like 4 Prismatic Ending, 2 Bone Shard. Darcy? Maybe Darcy's great. Did you need Bauble? Just not quite enough slots. Could be blue for Prismari Command. Prismari Command is pretty good at the moment. Darcy Reanimator sounds good. Let me see if my opponent's back yet. Okay, they are back. Okay, we'll put a pin in that. We'll put it and just play the Match of Magic. They discard Spyro here. Second Saga. Would love to find Magus. Maybe just love to find anything. Yeah, our draw this game has been pretty anemic, to be honest. I guess I could have just. I guess I shouldn't have Ephemerated there. Just should have used the Soulherder. Just a spew of Ephemerate. We do get to grow the Soulherder at least. That's gonna be our way to beat these illusion tokens. Yeah, but I probably couldn't afford to just spew the Ephemerate like that. We have so many good draws. Just didn't draw anything this game, really. We get to eat these illusion tokens, it looks like. One deputy attention seems semi-necessary. Yeah, deputy is probably pretty good. Yeah, I feel like I actually like the deputy a lot. I think I'm down to include it. Alright, so I'm gonna flicker this so we get a counter on Soulherder. We have a ton of good draws here. But if we don't draw anything, we're gonna have to go to game 2. Just actually drew 5 lands? Yeah. I think. Maybe we drew an Ephemerate. Alright, so we bring in the Sanctifiers, the Revoker, the Katakis, maybe not all 3 Katakis against their version. Let me pull up the list again. Hold on. I think I know it, actually. Or with the other Auriok Champion. Flametongue only kills Ragavan super effectively. I think with all these pro-red creatures, we don't need to play 4 of those. Magus deals with Saga. We probably trim Skyclave. Maybe Skyclave's important to eat on their cookbook. But we have Revoker for cookbook. Maybe just play 2 Katakis against this variant. I liked Yearling a lot. I think this card's very good. I like Spellstutter Sprite a lot in this matchup. Maybe cut some Wall of Omens. Probably cut the 4th wall, 3rd Solitude. 2nd Kataki. Yeah, it's probably not as good against their deck. Maybe we should actually cut the Kiki combo. Yeah, it seems like it's gonna be kind of hard to combo against their deck. Avalanche Riders for Saga. We have Magus for Saga. think that's a bit better. Let's keep this. 3-1 Prismatic for Rag Darcy Asmar. Maybe, yeah. I think that there's a problem with over sideboarding though. Okay, so we might have to take one hit off of that if we don't draw a land here. But then the rest of our hand is just good cards against that. Tapped Blood Crypt is a good sign. I'm probably gonna play Sanctifier here. Surprised they had nothing to do with their mana last turn. Well, I had Ragavan in some drafts with this deck, Vago. I found that, one, I didn't feel like there was a ton of room, and I also kind of felt like it didn't synergize well with the deck, and I'm also of the opinion that in this current metagame, everybody's gunning to beat Ragavan, so like I don't think that playing it really adds a lot of strength to this deck. But it's probably fine to play, right? It's still Ragavan. That was just my thinking. Well, their hand seems to be terrible. The Daredevil is surprisingly obnoxious here, though. I'm just gonna pass back for a turn. 4 mana 4/2 is broken. Should I just go ahead and I think I want to save the Revoker, just untap again. If we draw a land, we can Solitude the Daredevil. Taki's a bit awkward against just the one treasure token. Maybe pitch it to Solitude. I'm just gonna wait. I think we just have the inevitability here. My opponent seems to have like a really non-functional draw. It is a huge issue with these decks is that they just do have non-functional draws so often. So we can hardcast the Solitude, end of turn. Rid of a Daredevil. Yeah, we were 7-3 on the day with Through the Breach. Totally fine record. Alright, Spire looking fine. Discarding 2 lands. Okay. All of a sudden they're just back in it, huh? Should I exile Spyro? I think I'll exile Daredevil. Sanctifier's can exile either whenever we can make some trades, I guess. Other Solitude's not too bad. I'm just gonna go ahead and attack with everybody here. Sadly, you can't Revoker Urza Saga. Waiting so long to be able to use my sprites on something. Well, you don't need to revoke Season Pyromancer because we have this. We're doing a really bad job of drawing Recruiter too. This deck like really needs to draw like the first Recruiter usually at some point in the game. Still leaving this on 2. A weird game. They have so much mana that the Kataki doesn't really do that much here. I think that they're gonna get I think it's like kind of likely that they have a Stranded Asmo in their hand, so I predict that they're gonna get a Cookbook with their Urza Saga trigger. I don't know, Kataki makes them tap 4 of their mana on their turn. It's a lot. Yeah, I'm predicting Underworld Cookbook here. If they get Needle for my Vial, I'm not really that bothered. I'll just let it die to Kataki. And then they'll discard a card, I think, to be able to play Asmo. They discard Ragavan. They cast Asmo, I'm assuming, and then we can Spellstutter Sprite Asmo. Get a couple more flyers in play. And I probably don't want to Revoker the Cookbook until my turn, so that way I can Vial in the Revoker. So because I don't want to have to pay for Kataki on the Revoker. You want to Revoker Shadow Spear? Ooh, maybe, maybe we're gonna need to. Just revoke Asmo? Well, I think I'm just gonna untap for now. Revoking Asmo is not bad, I think. But then they get another Cookbook, and then they get to grow their constructs. But I guess not that by that much because they're almost out of cards. We're gonna cast Solitude this turn, Vial and Revoker. But am I gonna name Shadow Spear or am I gonna name the Cookbook? I guess the Cookbook's not doing that much. When I stopped playing through the breach, I just wanted to play a couple leagues. I don't want to play it all day. Yeah, I think. Well, I guess I have Solitude for yeah, I can Solitude the first creature they equip the Shadow Spear, and then I can just Revoker it afterwards. So I think I'm gonna pass here. Kind of bad if they have another Asmo though. But they go ahead and make another construct by sacking the treasure, and then Kataki is pressuring these a decent amount. They have 5 triggers, but you know this is definitely part of the strength of being a bit flooded, right? They consider Ilgarg for the Breach Archon deck. I was thinking about that the other day, yeah. It'll be a headache to play through for our opponent. They're not gonna make another construct. Right, so we get to go. Let them spend the mana on the equip. Solitude. The construct. Now they're down to just 1 creature. Have they already played a land? They have already played a land, so they can't re-equip. I don't need to Vial in the Revoker now. I'll cast it on my next turn, I think. Because again, it costs me a mana with Kataki, so I'll just Vial in the Wall of Omens instead. No attacks for them. What's that rookie mistake? Not sure what their mistake was. I must have missed something. I think I'm gonna take up the Vial. What's that? Put this up, tick this up. A1. So we're gonna Skyclave a Cookbook or Shadow Spear, and then name the other one. They have more Cookbooks in their deck than they have Shadow Spear, so I'll Skyclave the Spear and then Revoker the Cookbook. And then I guess if they can discard their last card. If they don't, we have an attack with Solitude. Pack it in. Cool. On the draw, I'm a little bit more interested in Flametongue, I think. I'm gonna cut like the I mean, Wall's not that bad. Should maybe just believe in the Wall. Alright, let's try this. Yeah, so usually against food decks I'm not playing like all these Sanctifiers and Auriok Champions, and I'd be playing more Katakis, more Prismatic Endings, but against this variant that's like way more mid-rangey, playing Ragavan Darcy, I think I just want 1 Kataki and all these pro red black creatures. 600 hours, 5 months, welcome back, appreciate you. Well, a big part of that game being tighter than it was like their hand was really non-functional, which meant that our hand of like only answers couldn't do anything. This hand's pretty good if it draws 1 land. We're on the draw. How do you guys feel about keeping this? This hand's really good if it draws a land. Let's send it back. Very close though. Biology the Recruiter. Zip-Eponymous, 3 months, welcome back. Appreciate ya. I'm gonna keep this. I'll put back the Solitude because I'm on the mulligan. I immediately draw Ephemerate. I feel like that hand was maybe closer than it looked. Over another Darcy, then keep a card on top. We're gonna get the Jeskai Triome here. Sanctifier would be a great pickup. Oh, there's the Ephemerate for our bottom Solitude. Man, if only this were a 7-card hand. And it does think that you can't Recruiter for you can't Recruiter for Solitude. I can Recruiter for a Sanctifier here, which is probably going to be a little slow, but probably necessary. We'll see what we draw. Solitude is kind of the best draw. If we play Soulherder, it's just going to die to... It's just gonna die to the Asmos. I'll Recruiter for Sanctifier, which is gonna be really good against my opponent's Darcy's. Really good if they can assemble the Daredevil loop, which they don't currently have a Daredevil, and it also blocks Asmo. They upkeep bolt my Imperial Recruiter. So this is gonna be a 3rd card type. They need a sorcery or an artifact in the yard to get Delirium. They found the artifact. Thank goodness the Sanctifier should be able to answer the Darcy's. Hopefully it's not too late. They only have 1 card left in their hand. They discard the Daredevil, but the Sanctifier also deals with that. I guess they might just end up hardcasting it. And it gives them 2 extra free food this turn, which is going to be an issue with the Asmo. They kill the Wall of Omens with the food, putting me down to 6 life. Because we have Ephemerate, would Skyclave be the safer option? Sanctifier is so much better than Skyclave here. Just turning off the Delirium, not being killable by Asmo, just such a much better option, I feel. And second Sanctifier might not be bad. Have I played a Call Solitude Ephemerate deck? I have. I had a Naya Recruiter deck that I liked for a little bit. At the Street Wraith, Bubble, Sell Daredevil. Man, Darcy is still so good. I'm gonna kill my Wall of Omens. They are. Well, how big a difference is there between being at 1 and being at 3? Probably not that big. Did the bolt either way. 2 difference, thanks chat. Mono Sanctifiers. I guess if I knew I was drawing the 3rd one, maybe I wouldn't have made this way. Weird game. That's true, I can't crack a fetch land. I feel like it's not that relevant, maybe. Oh, this does put me dead to Pirate Spell Bomb. Good point. I mean, stopping them from getting the double surveil also feels relevant. Wait, why are they discarding now? Oh yeah, we are dead to Dash Ragavan. Yeah, okay. Well, I didn't play this game very well, I guess. Yeah, so that if they have Pirate Spellbomb in their deck, which they probably do. Shadow Spear? Oh no. Also dead to that. This is my attack. Yeah, I could have played this game better, unfortunately. We can keep this. GG's. Yeah, no, I just shouldn't have attacked the Sanctifier because I was also dead to Dash Ragavan. I also maybe was supposed to go to 3. Leave you with the second Darcy. Yeah, cool deck though. Temur Triome. Probably Rhinos, right? Yeah, I feel like our deck really needs a Deputy of Detention. I think Simon's right. I think it was Simon, at least. So we can either cut like the 4th Flametongue or the 3rd Skyclave. Kind of down to cut the 3rd Skyclave. I'll just rinse it now. We can maybe waffle a little bit. It's one or the other. The Deputy just gives you so much game against the Saga tokens. It's kind of nice against Hammer Time. Just a good card in general. So we are playing against Rhinos. So we can Flametongue and Ephemerate to deal with 1 Rhino. We're in trouble. Get the Jeskai Triome though. Auriok Champion's pretty interesting. I guess we're gonna go cast Auriok Champion. Flametongue, a Rhino, Ephemerate, Flametongue. Sorry about the UI. Sorry about the content. One of my favorite streamers, the Happy Hob, always says sorry about the content. Cracks me up every time. Athena, wake from her nap now. I probably shouldn't get her all riled up. They suspend the Rhinos. They can't cast another one here. So I think I'm gonna go Flicker my Flametongue. Recruiter for Soulherder, then Flicker the Flametongue again. Alright, this is fine. Cheese, 8 months, welcome back. Appreciate you, buddy. Now we go Soulherder, attack for 3. Flicker Flametongue, Ephemerate Flametongue. I maybe just don't even need to. I need to change the stream decker, sorry. I maybe don't even need to. I could maybe have just like flickered the Recruiter instead, but killing their Rhinos seems pretty nice. I could have also, I guess, just killed the Agent. This, I mean, both options seem totally reasonable. And this, and what's nice about this is it gets my Soulherder up to 3/3, which is relevant against like most of the removal, which does 2 damage. Flametongue looking decent. So I think I'm gonna go Flicker the Recruiter, grab grab Felidar Guardian, and I could gain infinite life and I can make infinite life, infinite power here, by going. So I go Flicker Recruiter, get Guardian, and then I Vial and Guardian, Flicker Recruiter to grab Glasspool Mimic, and then I can Glasspool Mimic the Guardian for infinite life, infinite power on Soulherder. Bit of a complicated line, and I could have also grabbed Kiki if I drew it on tap land, which I didn't. But this seems to be the line. It's going to be a lot of clicks though, which is always the problem with playing this combo. I will always yes, always yield, but I think I actually have to still click yes. It's a new object entering every time or something. Okay, I have to click that to copy. I don't know why it's going a bit slower than it did yesterday. I think I got it now. Yeah, I don't need to do this too many times. I'm just gonna get the Soulherder up to like 14 or something. This deck is maybe one of those that's like way better to play in paper. Opponent thankfully concedes. Says, I didn't believe you when you said Yearling was good. Silly me. It's funny. Alright, we get to bring in the Drannith Magistrate, the Sanctum Prelate. We cut the Magus. I cut the third Yearling. Is deck tech full? It's probably full, yeah. We did a bunch earlier. It's still always the $5 option. How's the Tiny Leaders TikTok going? I'm pretty happy with the content I've been putting out. Unfortunately, the algorithm doesn't seem to be deeming too many people pure of heart to find it, but that's okay. Only the pure of heart, as dictated by the TikTok algorithm, can find the Tiny Leaders TikTok. Of course. Is their deck not weak to Magus? No, not usually. Their deck can even play Magus. I mean, they might not play around it, but their deck even sometimes plays Blood Moon. Is this not better as a Yorion deck? I don't think so. I think that I only want to play Yorion in this kind of decks if I have access to like 8 tutors. And right now it's just the 4 recruiters. So if we were on the play, we could Recruiter for Magistrate and then Vial it in. As it stands, I think it's going to be a little slow here. I was Prelate, but I like Prelate. I might still get Magistrate. Just to stop more rhinos. Also stops, oh no, it doesn't stop the pitch spells. Well, that card's pretty good against them. Maybe I won't get Prelate now that I have a Spellstutter Sprite. Yeah, I'll grab Emrakul. Looks like my opponent has Subtlety. I get like Venser actually. Maybe I should get Soulherder for this turn. Actually, we'll get Soulherder this turn, then we get the Venser. Right, makes sense. Yeah, I'm playing Drannith Magistrate over Lavinia. I think that's correct. Kind of up to you though, you know. Magistrate like not dying to the burn in this matchup matters a lot, and I think that like nobody's playing Tron, you know. Well, if they have Violent Outburst and they cast it after I tick this up, good beats. Didn't draw a blue source. Let's see if they subtlety this recruiter. They didn't. So now I think I'm gonna grab Sanctum Prelate. and just pass. Maybe I can attack with this Recruiter. I know this means I'm not vialing in the Soulherder here, but if I vial in the Soulherder, they just Violent Outburst. Okay. That stings. I lost my tutor effects. Let's just go ahead and prelate on 0 here. Yeah, killing both my recruiters there is pretty bad for me. I'm taking 10. Yeah, this is 2 matches in a row where like not having the deputy matters a lot. I think I'm gonna cut the 3rd Skyclave for mana curve considerations. I've also been pretty impressed by Flametongue, but it could go the other way. Alright, game 3. I think matchup gets way better on the play. Do I want Riders on the play? Probably not. I maybe want Magus on the play. I feel like I could maybe just get him. Although actually, Flametongue's just better than Skyclave. Well, let's keep this. Weird hand though. Animals to 6. Seems like they've got a hard decision on either the card to put back or if they want to go to 5. Yeah, no, I think Ascend's definitely a keep. It's just definitely the kind of hand that can never draw a land and lose. I mean, Magistrate's so good against them because it just doesn't die to any of their burn too. They have Gemstone Caverns. Definitely can lead to some difficult decisions. What are they exiling? Wooded Foothills. It's like I mean, there's no world where I play Yearling next turn. It's not ever gonna happen. I mean, if they have like Petty Theft on turn 2 into turn 1 Petty Theft into turn 2 Cascade, good for them. Then we get to drop and add the deputy to the deck. Hopefully, yeah. I was hoping that they would fetch in a way that they're vulnerable to the Magus that's in our hand too. Yeah, it is really dumb that this card doesn't interact with companions anymore. Absolutely agree. Alright, so we've made their hand awkward and we don't have anything we can play, so hopefully we draw a land at some point this game. If not, maybe my opponent's hand is all Cascade spells. It is nice that we have the Ephemerate to protect the Magistrate. Go, Magistrate, go! I think Lavinia is better than Magistrate because it stops Regent and Affinity. I mean, not dying to Stomp and Fire is really, really relevant in this matchup. Lavinia also doesn't stop Affinity. It comes out on turn 2 after they've already played all their 0-drops. And it's also like against Murktide Regent decks, they have a million 1-mana answers to Lavinia. Looks like they have Subtlety. I guess we're getting... Oh, they have... Brutal. He didn't even bounce my Magistrate because they're playing around Ephemerate. Brutal. Just tilt. Guess we weren't drawing the land anyways. I guess I shouldn't attack because they can have Subtlety. If they have another Cryptic. Okay, well that worked out pretty well for us. I don't know why they didn't do that last turn though. Alright, so land please, I feel like I deserve it. What a weird game. Alright, we got our 6th look at a land here. They're gonna Charlotte's Agent just for the 2/2 body? Wow. Their hand is supposed to be like 4 Cascade spells. Let's go! Alright, I'm gonna play Magus first. I know this cuts me off of some spells in my hand, but I think they're just gonna kill it. I think making them kill it is good. And it cuts them off of Subtlety, cuts them off of any green card. Now if they attack with Charlotte's Agent, I can maybe block with Drannith Magistrate. It's probably a bit too greedy. Alright, so here I can get... I just get Glasspool Mimic. This makes sense to me. Yeah, Cryptic Induce as well, right? They're probably gonna grab Guardian here and just go for Guardian into Kiki-Jiki. I can also go Guardian, Flicker, Glasspool Mimic, copy Guardian, if I want to, but I'll only do that if I draw a land for turn, because I need this 5th land for Kiki. I did draw the land, so seems fine to do this. What a weird game. Evoke Subtlety. Well, I'll just put this back on top. We also have the option to try to trade Magus for Shardless if we want to. Not this turn, though. Yeah, Subtlety pretty bad. I agree. I feel like this could have probably countered the spell and been reasonable. Maybe the stats would have had to be like 2/2. Yeah, this is 2/2 and countered the spell would have been like a reasonable card and not too good. So tap like this, so if I want to trade Magus, I can attack. Oh, I was probably supposed to flicker the Glasspool Mimic, forgot. I mean, they do get to just break this up with any removal spell. But I feel like if they had a removal spell, they might have killed the Magus before this. The jam. They're not conceding. Seems like they have removal. I should probably copy Guardian. Flicker this. And then, like, if they don't have a removal spell, we'll just try to go off again next turn. But getting a little bit of value, I think, makes sense to me here. We can grab a Recruiter, we can grab a Flametongue. I'm gonna grab a Flametongue. Let us attack through the menacing 2/2 next turn. Playing with food. I mean, I think this was good to play around a burn spell here, right? Too late to name 2. I don't have double white here. If they removal, would they not have fired enough? No, they would need. It would be best for them to kill the Kiki-Jiki after I target it with Felidar Guardian. But the thing is, like, if they don't have a removal spell here, they need to draw one next turn. Otherwise, they're still dead. So, like, this loses to maybe this doesn't even like lose to their draw. Yeah, they have it. Yeah, this doesn't even like lose to their draw step being the burn spell necessarily. Why do we get second planes with the fetch? Because I thought they would kill the Magus, honestly. And then because if I get the second planes and I cast Magus and they kill it, which they're like pretty likely to be able to do, then I don't have any blue mana. Ulti kicker. Not the most relevant line of text, but it comes up, I guess. Now that the 2/2 is done, we're free to attack. In before Anger of the Gods. Any Theft Magus. Interesting that they chose Magus and not the Magistrate. I'm not too upset about this though. Back it in. Delta Go, no Luris. Our deck's probably not that good against Mill. Maybe we should be playing a sideboard card for it. I don't know, Sprites help. It's Twiddlestorm? Golly. Well, I guess we're dead, huh? Thoughts on Demilich in Modern? I think it's like good against the Ragavan Darcy decks, and it's like good if there's a ton of spot removal and not a lot of graveyard hate. I don't necessarily recommend it in other metagames. Magus of the Moon off the top. Let me get a Plains just to like, so Magus will, you know, Magus will come. If I don't get a Plains, I don't think Magus is gonna want to get top decked here. Okay, well, Skyclave the Talisman, probably still dead though. Played against Fecundancy Storm yesterday and it legit looked good. Well, it's probably just because Mogg War Marshal is probably at an all-time high, huh? Mogg War Marshal's even pretty good, to be honest. You think Magus was the play here? Yeah. Do you mean Recruiter for Magus? Because we can't let them on top of Talisman, Lotus Blue, Lotus Field. Make sure they could have 9 lands in their hand. Yeah, Mogg War Marshal blocks Monkey. It's also like there's just a ton of like cheap spot removal right now, so Mogg War Marshal kind of shines in that environment. Okay. We bring in Prelates, Riders, Revoker names their talisman, gets their talisman, I guess. There are a lot of dead cards here. Magistrate doesn't do anything. Flametongue doesn't do anything. We might just have to like play Prismatic Ending. Like the first ending is, I mean, Solitude's also like super dead in this matchup. Did not come Drannith for Wish. They don't play Wish. I'm assuming if they play Wish, you know, they play Wish Call Talisman, right? There's no way they have Wish and Talisman, right? At least I don't think they should play it. Mulligan this. Doesn't Drannith shut off Passive Flames? Yeah, I guess you're right about that. Maybe that's worth it. All right, let's keep this. Yobarharic also powers out turn 2 Fecundity. We can sack to Prospector. It's cool. I don't know. Does sound like there's a lot of moving pieces though. They play Underworld Breach too. Yeah, Magistrates is probably better than some of these cards. I agree. Just like has to be because a lot of these cards are going to be bad. Wish and Tal. I mean, I don't think you can afford to play 4 Wish and 4 Wish. I mean, I think I am of the opinion that Wish Claw Talisman is unplayable in Modern. To be honest, I could be wrong about that, I guess, but. Sorry. I'm of the opinion that the card Wish Call Talisman is fine. The card Wish is unplayable in Modern. Like, I don't necessarily like be. Oh, what happened here? I'd be closer to playing. I'd be closer to playing and like Cruel Tutor than Wish and Twiddlestorm. seems fine in Gift Storm. I mean, it's like not a it's not like a it's like there are a lot of cards that would be fine in Gift Storm, but it's just I don't think the correct option to play. You know what I mean? Like it's probably not embarrassingly bad in Gift Storm, but almost certainly not the correct way to build the deck. Grim Tutor, yeah, I guess I mean Grim Tutor, whichever the reprint portal card is. Yeah. So Cruel Tutor's not. I was confusing the two cards. Well, no Lotus Field yet. I think I'm probably supposed to go Shields down here. Yeah, the difference between a 2 and 3 CMC tutor is crazy, and a tutor that you have to play your tutor card immediately is also like that's a huge downside. You wish to get Tome Breach from the board. That's 2 cards. That's 2 cards. I mean, I'm assuming you have like Breach in hand or something. I don't know. That just doesn't seem like Gifts and Given is a 1 card win the game in Blue Red Storm, right? Gifts and Given is a 1 card tutor that wins you the game. I don't know. Like I would rather play Merchant Scroll to grab more copies of Gifts and Given and Storm. You know what I mean? It's Gifts 7 because it can get you gifts is why it's good. Because Merchant Scroll gets gifts for cheaper. All right, Desperation Ideas Unbound. All right, going to game 3. Let's bring in that Magistrate, huh? Yeah, it also takes up sideboard slots, which is not irrelevant. We're talking about Modern and the card Wish in Modern. Yeah. I remember I played Storm in like its earliest iterations of Modern back in the day. Caleb followed. Caleb being summoned from the Storm conversation. Caleb, what do you think about Wish and Modern Storm? I don't think it's very good. But I'm interested to hear your take. I'm gonna keep this. Sanctifier's Sanctifier? No, Sanctifier doesn't do anything against them, I don't think. Nothing relevant. Hope that they play Talisman on turn 2. Does it not stop Pass and Flames and Breach? No, it doesn't. Pass and Flames and Breach, their effects still happen. Like, Breach is in play, not in the graveyard, and most of their payoffs aren't red. You know what I mean? It doesn't stop those cards, no. Have I been impressed with Yearling? Yeah, I've been really impressed with Yearling. Surprisingly impressed. Yeah, it only stops the flashback of Past in Flames, which isn't that relevant in this matchup, I think. More relevant in like the Gift Store matchup. Land would be nice. Cool, so I think I'm gonna go Recruiter for Spellstutter Sprite. And then next turn we can recruit for Magus, which is like lights out against them. Now I have the option of which either of these two to Vial end this turn. The combo is Wish and Twiddle Storm. I mean, wouldn't you just rather play Underworld Breach in the main deck? Underworld Breach in the main deck is great in Twiddle Storm. I just don't know why you would really feel like you would need to like wish for your Underworld Breach. I'm sure you have other wish targets too, but a 3 mana increase to your breach is not free. This is a not spliced Peer Through Depths. I'm worried you're gonna click through Imperial Recruiter one of these times. I've done that before. Is there something about the way I'm clicking here that makes you think I'm gonna click through it? Okay. Well, opponent is playing it. Yeah, time to get proven wrong. I don't know, man. I mean, they could wish for something. I mean, they can't really wish for anything relevant. Oh, wow. Twiddle my Vial. I guess I didn't play around this. They're just prelate on 3. Can't I just activate? I mean, I can put in this prelate. I just don't know what the prelate does, really. Yeah, I feel like one or two is more relevant. I'm gonna name 2, I think. Oh yeah, this also stops the wish. Right. So I have 3 cards. One of them is Wish, which is turned off by the Drannith Magistrate, despite any opinions anybody has on the playability of Wish. No matter what, no matter if you think it's good or if you disagree with me, agree with me, whatever. Either way, it's turned off by the Magistrate here. Do you think Twiddle was something you should have played around there, or do you think your play was correct regardless? I think it would have been better if I had cast the Recruit, if I had Vialed and Recruiter than cast Magus. I think that would have been a better line to take. The 3-mana black tutor, Grim tutor, might be better for them if they are in the market for more tutors. Profane tutor might, yeah, it's probably a little slow for their deck actually. Prismatic Ending off the Seachrome Coast, cool. Okay. Scary Cauldron. Maybe. They get sort of Fire Ice, actually. Maybe have time to recruit up like a Skyclave. They have another Prismatic Ending. If I had a blue source to Spellstutter Sprite, we'd be in decent shape. Oh, well, Wall of Omens kind of embarrasses the sword here, at least. Looks like maybe they have Counterspell. They could also just have Cauldron in their hand. I wonder if this is just blue-white. If it's blue-white, I think like one of the biggest draws is like getting to play Chalice in the main deck. That might actually be... I don't know. It's like, I think you probably can play Spellstutter or Chalice in these decks. Probably not both. Well, they get to equip their sword. If I draw a land, I guess I'm gonna Vincer the sword. I could also just play Guardian and try to block. Oops, all land, or oops, no lands. All Vials. Let's just recruit up a Skyclave. Pretty behind though. It's definitely not a very strong play though. I think I'm gonna Skyclave their Stoneforge Mystic. We have Ephemerate to kind of clean up more things. Hopefully, right? Not doing a great job drawing lands today. Thanks for that land for Path to Exile. Good against game. I don't think we're gonna end up changing too much here. I kind of like Phyrexian Revoker. Maybe more the Magus of the Moon against them. Kind of maybe want to trim on Solitude as well. And keep in the Auriok Champion as the outs to Infinite Life. Maybe play Riders over Solitude 3. We're gonna talk about my brewing process. Yeah, I talk about this a lot, and it's, you know, it's a bit. I don't necessarily have a. I don't ever like just sit down to brew. I don't ever say I'm gonna start brewing. Instead, what I do is I think a lot about modern or whatever format I'm interested in, and I try to think about the best ways to attack a metagame, or try to think of cards that people aren't playing, or interesting interactions that seem to be potentially powerful and or underexplored. Man, they're so good at dealing with these vials. And once I kind of have an idea for something that I think is powerful and underexplored, that's when I start to put a deck together around that idea. But I don't ever just sit down and say, I'm going to brew around my favorite card of the format, which is Flametongue Yearling. Or I don't just sit down and say, I'm going to brew around X or Y card because I like it. It always has to start with, I think that this is potentially good, you know what I mean? Alright, let's just pass back. Brew around a concept rather than a place. Yeah, I guess you could say that. I guess I'm gonna ephemerate a wall here. Scary crab. If they path, I'm not that worried about it. But it's I guess I'll just if they path, I'll probably ephemerate in response. Especially now that this is gonna fizzle their petty theft. Oh yeah, that's actually true. It always starts with 4 Mishra's Bauble, 4 Luris. Never mind, I forgot. I think I'm just gonna go Islands, kick Yearling, which is not a great play, but they definitely haven't done a great job of playing into my hand of interactive spells. Get my 3/2 in play. And then we have like a bunch of flash threats up. I missed their land drop. But I do think that's where most players go wrong in their brewing process, is a lot of players seem like they go, I really want my Solitude to resolve here. A lot of players seem to go, oh man, I really like this card. This card is a card I really, really like and I want to make good. I want to make this card good. But if you're going to try to be someone who tries to brew competitively, which is my focus, that just can't be your starting point. You need to say, I'm brewing this because it's good. I'm not trying to make my pet card good. Probably a good turn to cast Soulherder. I don't think my opponent's playing Verdicts, but I could be wrong. It kind of seems like they have, maybe I could just Vincer their Triome. Kind of seems like they have Path. Either that or my internet crashed. Is Counterspell even good right now? It's not that good. There's just so many 1-mana spells, which is kind of like the theory behind the Thief's deck, right? The Counterspell's just not all that good right now. Just bounce the Triome. Spider Spade, 5 months, welcome back, buddy. I wrote a deck highlight for your top 8 deck for CFB. Pretty excited about that list. Okay. How can we beat Hard Evidence? How can we beat that crab? I think Desperate Stoneblade list you played last month is decent. I do, yeah. I've kind of been liking Jeskai like a little bit more than Esper though, where I think that getting Ragavan is a bit better than Dakin. I do think Esper Sentinel's pretty good though. And honestly, like both of those decks it's just the same deck. Like Jeskai Stoneblade, Esper Stoneblade, they're both just the same blue-white Stoneblade deck. And you're gonna pick and choose like your kind of flex spots based on how the format's developing, right? I don't know when it's gonna be out, Spider. It's just kind of up to whenever the editor puts it out, but I do like that deck. Let's keep this. Put a Moles to 5 on the play. Moles to 4. This hand's maybe a little bit too land heavy, but it's kind of hard to mull turn 1 Vial. Heavy brewed Bard class in Modern doesn't seem to be viable. I don't think the Bard class is going to be good in Modern. I don't think Bard class is going to be viable in Modern, so I haven't started to brew with it. I think the card's underpowered and then like requires you to play a bunch of underpowered cards too. Alright, I put a Mold to 4. I might have mulled if I knew my top card would be a land. Well, Flametongue off the top, maybe. Do you think a 4-color version of this deck is possible? You can. I think you can play 4-color flicker decks. Yeah, the mana's worse, of course, but Eldarmer's Call is really nice. Yeah, I definitely would have mulliganed if I knew it was gonna be land. They grabbed a Kaldra, which we don't have that many answers to. They also seem like they must have like Counterspell in their hand. I think I'm just gonna cycle the Triome. I don't think I need to Skyclave the Stoneforge. It's maybe good if they have like land. Sort of Fire Ice is 2 of their unknown cards. Yes, this is cool, Simon. I don't know. I feel like it's like a bit fragile, but maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm even wrong about that. It looks cool. It looks cool. Wait, they got Maul of the Skyclaves? Wait, are they gonna attack? They tutored up Kaldra. They must have just misclicked. And now they're like, well, I misclicked, I might as well attack. It's kind of classic logical fallacy, you know? But now I can Skyclave their Stoneforge Mystic? Oh man, my opponent's doing a lot of favors here. This deck looks good, Simon. Or like, it looks cool. And I'm a bit worried about how fragile it is, but I at least like the look of it. Do I have Vial and Sprite? I don't think so. Another land. 2 pretty anemic draws here, I guess. My opponent's doing me a lot of favors. It has Kaldra, now 2 mystery cards. What do I think of Griefblade? I think the Grief portion of Griefblade is really bad. Don't play Grief and Griefblade. Play like literally anything else. I think let's wait on the Recruiter. Like, I kind of do have them read as having a counterspell. Is that one other card? Yeah, I would have definitely lost if they just put Kaldra into play. Especially if they just didn't... Especially if they had main phased it. I don't want to Spellstutter Sprite block the Borrower here too. You don't like the Grief Reanimator list, the top 8 on stat? I didn't see the list. The Reanimators, if you want to post it, I'll take a look. Oh wait, no, I did see that deck. The one that's playing the Priest. I mean, that's a bit better, the Reanimation plan with Grief, I think. But just like the Ephemerate Grief plan has not been one that I found to be very good. It's just like, we've talked about this endlessly. Like, the card quality you have to play to like enable turn 1 Grief Ephemerate is just not that good. Yeah, I remember feeling like this deck was a bit all over the place. I've been playing a deck like this that's just like more mid-rangey with the Reanimation plan, but you know, they top 8'd it, not me, huh? I don't like the main deck Sarah's Emissary. That's probably fine. Whatever. Cool list. Alright, they probably have a counterspell, but with 2nd Recruiter, I think I'm supposed to jam here. What do you think about Kiki-Core? Kiki-Core's probably somewhat playable. Kind of thought about playing it today, actually. Kind of just want a Recruiter for Recruiter. Then grab a Spellstutter Sprite. Oh, maybe not Sprite. I'll get Wall of Omens. Just violeted now. Just having a card advantage card to flicker is pretty nice. I thought about... I had a Charming Prince for a little while. I ended up cutting it. Or just like a little underpowered. And we have Glasspool Mimic instead of Image, which is better for the Felidar Guardian loop. Yeah, maybe we'll play some. I've had a Kiki chord list, although I probably need to change it a bit, but I've had a Kiki chord list together ever since MH2 came out that I feel like looks fine. I just like haven't streamed with it yet or even played it at all. But maybe this is even just better than what I'm playing right now. I have to get rid of my Vial on 3. Fine. Let's go grab a Soulherder. I think we can potentially make Soulherder infinite power next turn. Yeah, we can if we grab Felidar Guardian. Probably should have attacked first. I want to get Spellstutter Sprite though. Oh, I guess this is bad against a Verdict to get the Sprite. The choice sort of between Cord and Soulherder? Not entirely, no. Kind of between Cord and Aether Vial, really. Gonna play it kind of slow here. I'm gonna grab another Recruiter. This plays another Recruiter means I can actually just kill them after a Verdict here. I can go Recruiter for Guardian, take up Vial, Guardian, Recruiter, cast Kiki. So they can finally cast their Cauldra. They cast Jace instead. I don't have enough fairies to deal with that. Yeah, Vial plays really well with Recruiter, although Cord also plays well with Recruiter. And usually it's just tough to play Cord and Vial, but it's really not that big a deal, probably. Probably not the end of the world if you play both. Well, I can't pass up on the value. Yeah, they should be dead here. They searched up Cauldra again. Let's look at the Felidar Guardian. Okay, they see the line. Guardian, Flicker Recruiter, get Kiki. Alright, bouncing back. 3-1. Feels good. We have the Solitude Ephemerate combo. We're on the draw. What a mulligan. Well, give me back that first hand. Although we have it again, we just don't have a white source. I'm gonna keep this on the draw, actually. This hand just needs to draw a white source to be like totally fine. It has really high upside with the Solitude Ephemerate plan. I think that's just better than going to 5 against an unknown opponent who keeps 7. Cycle Street Wraith end of turn, so this is Living In, which means Spellstutter Sprite's gonna be really good. Solitude can also be good sometimes. Not usually enough to win. There we go. We can beat Street Wraith, Desert Ceradon, Deadshot Minotaur with our Ephemerate Solitude plan. So I could just cast Wall of Omens here. I don't need to hold up the Sprite this turn. It's bad if they have like the Hex, if they have exactly the Hexproof Cycler, and they have Curator, not the Hexproof one. We go main phase Violent Outburst. I want a Solitude in response. Kind of free, right? It would be nice. Wish I had another white card for that. I think I'm gonna get it. Maybe this is a bit too greedy, but I think I'm gonna try to block and then Ephemerate. It's bad against some interaction, but it just has the highest upside play, which I think I should be taking here. Street Wraith. They immediately tap 2 mana and untap it, which seems like they're trying to like petty theft this and then realize that that plays really poorly around Ephemerate. Oh my gosh, Fury is so good for us. They discard Deadshot Minotaur. I mean, it's good for us if they don't have petty theft. If they also have petty theft, then we can't win this game anyways. Who cares? Fire Ice, wow. Haven't seen Fire Ice in Living End. It's not that common. Although it seems like very good for them here. I'm gonna bring in my Sanctifiers. I'm gonna bring the Drannith Magistrate. I'm gonna bring in Avalanche Riders. Cut my Flametongues. My Skyclaves if I can. Sanctifier is probably, it's not that good, but it's at least somewhat relevant. Auriok Champion's probably fine. At least better than the Flametongues and the Skyclaves. It's an interesting matchup where like the Solitude Ephemerate plan is very interesting, the sprites are interesting, and we have a couple lock pieces in Magistrate and Prelate. How did Through the Breach go? Would I say it's viable? It feels viable. We were 7-3 with it. I don't think it's like one of the best decks to be playing, but I think it's at least a reasonable choice, which is just kind of what I was testing out this morning. Gotta keep this, unfortunately. A bit nervous to keep it. Yeah, I hope Sanctifier is better than we think. It's just like, it stops like half their creatures, so I guess it is sometimes randomly really good, and then other times underpowered. Land would be really nice. Alright, that's really nice. I'm just gonna get Mountain. Leaving up the, okay, there's Sanctifier. Leaving up Sprite's kind of nice. They didn't cycle on turn 1 either. It's kind of weird. Oh, Foundation Breaker is sad. Makes me wish I had gone to Sacred Foundry. Alright, so I don't expect them to Living End this turn. We are pretty set up against their combo. The problem is they haven't really drawn a combo draw. What? Rhinos? Sideboard Rhinos? Cool. Can't hate. Ephemerate would be a good draw. Man, definitely had a lot of mana issues this league. It's weird to bring in Foundation Breaker and Rhinos, right? Because Foundation Breaker beats up on graveyard hate spells. I mean, it killed my Aether Vial, I guess, but I feel like having both is just a weird plan. I'm probably nitpicking a bit too much. Probably just for Chalice. That makes sense, yeah. Throes of Chaos, too, wow. Well, it looks like we're going to take the L, despite having the Spellstutter Sprite technology. Alright, so we 3-2'd that league, not too bad. I'm going to run it back, though, with the Deputy of Detention over the 3rd Skyclave. I feel like that was this is a pretty good addition where the Deputy is very good against both Rhinos and Urza Saga tokens, and also just cleans up your Skyclave tokens sometimes. Good tutor target. It's also not bad against Hammer time.